Thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Curtis. Gosh, I feel like I've never been spiritually moved by the air conditioner clicking on. Did you notice that? It was like right in time, and then the other voice joined in. It was like, oh, it's powerful. Wow. Gosh. Thank you, Lisa, for the beautiful meditation. It was so nice and grounding. So here we are. Here we are. Thank you, AC, for clicking off. You've got my back. I appreciate this. I appreciate this context. We exist in a context. We do not exist in a vacuum. We exist in the context of each other, of our world, of our cosmos. And I'd like to start out there in the cosmos and then bring it home. So last night, we had a new moon. Did anybody see it? That's a joke. You got it. You got it. Yes, yes, we can't see the new moon. We don't see the new moon. And I'm just going to explain a little bit about the synodic cycle. That's the phases of the moon a little bit. So if I'm the Earth, if my head is the Earth right now and the sun is over here, okay, so it's like daytime, nighttime, daytime, nighttime. We turn to the sun, it's the daytime. We turn away, it's the nighttime. The moon circles around the Earth, and when the moon is conjunct with the sun, daytime, nighttime, we don't see it, and that's a new moon because it's conjunct with the sun. So when the sun sets, there's no moon over there. When it's a full moon, the moon has gone all the way around to the other side of things. So at nighttime, we see the full face of the moon, fully illuminated by her dance partner, the sun. These are two types of union. The union of the full moon has a sense of culmination and completion. We witness the full glory of the sun in the daytime, and we witness the full glory of the moon at night. And the new moon is a kind of union of something just beginning. And we don't know what it is yet. We're not sure what it's going to be. So this happens every month, but this new moon that just happened yesterday, this is a special new moon because this opens up what's called an eclipse window. So this new moon is followed by a full moon, and when this next full moon happens, it's going to be a lunar eclipse. My head is going to be right in the middle here, right in the way. It's going to cause a shadow on the moon's surface. And then the next new moon that we have, when the moon comes all the way around, that's going to be a solar eclipse. Because it just so happens that everything is lined up just perfectly enough that we have these magical portals of transformation. That's what eclipses are. Eclipses are times of significant change. And you're not going to believe this, but this solar eclipse that's happening a month from now, it's lined up, another alignment, it's lined up with the autumnal equinox. How cool is that? That's so neat. We've got a lot going on here, and the equinoxes in general, the equinoxes are the point in the year. If we were to take the cycle of the year and translate it into a linear format in a sine curve, the equinoxes are that point when we cross the x-axis. And that, if you remember from math class, I know we got a math teacher in the audience, that time when it crosses the x-axis, that is when the rate of change is the biggest. So the equinoxes are times of radical change. The eclipses are portals of transformation. When we step out of this time a month from today, we're not going to be the same as we were when we stepped into it. So we have an opportunity over this next whole lunar cycle. This is a special lunar cycle. We have an opportunity during this next month to try to feel into what we have to release in order to step into where we're going from here. because there's some things that we just can't take with us where we're going. And the word that is used, the Greek word that's used for these lunar alignments, whether it's the new moon or the full moon, the word that's used is syzygy. That's syzygy. And this has the similar, it's a same root word as zygote, which is, that's the special combination of sperm and egg where it contains both sets of chromosomes. It has the same root word as yoga. It means union. These points of new moon and full moon are points of union. And this eclipse portal that we're stepping into, it's got me thinking about union within us, between us, and in our context. Delith announced that I am going to be I'm offering a Kundalini yoga workshop after service today. And if you're able to stay, that's wonderful. And if not, come to my Kundalini yoga classes. If you're digging on some of these vibes, sometimes it's hard to talk about this stuff without talking about Kundalini yoga because it's all just very intertwined. Carl Jung was really into Kundalini yoga, and I was just going to talk about Carl Jung uses the term syzygy in his developments in psychology to describe the next level. It's a mature level of psychological development and individualization and awareness, self-awareness, the syzygy of the anima and the animus, the coming together of the internal masculine and feminine energies. And Jung was very clear that this coming together of masculine and feminine energies, this was not just a personal thing. This is not just aspects of our own personality. What we're working with here are universal, archetypal energies. And we see these archetypes in the moon and the sun. So when we're seeing the phases of the moon, we're in witness of the union, the relationship between the archetypal masculine and feminine energy. What we're seeing out in the sky isn't just a metaphor. It's not just that we can reflect and see the same thing within and between us. It is the same thing. We are not within our context and separate from it. We are interpervaded. We are the context. We are that. We are that which is. And what we're speaking of here is the Hermetic principle of as above, so below. It's the same thing. What you're seeing up there in the sky, what you're seeing out there in the faces of each other, what you're seeing out there in the world, that's the same thing as what's happening within. Everything is one thing, and our internal journey of the union of masculine and feminine energies is the same thing. It's not separate from that cultural moving towards union of masculine and feminine energy. And it's the same for you as it is for me, because we are we, and we are all together. We are all together. So when we tune in to this archetypal energy, when we tune into the cosmic energy, when we get our minds out of our personality and into this sense of we are we, and it's the same thing reflected at every fractal level of scale, we're operating in a transpersonal field. And that's where I want to be as we step into the next part of this conversation here. Because we have an opportunity, in particular, during this eclipse window, to expand into a new phase of our existence as a species and as a planet. Creating a new phase of existence requires cooperation and collaboration between masculine and feminine energy. That's creation requires that kind of dynamic collaboration between the polarities. We are this whole interrelated being, and any conflict between masculine and feminine energies is only ever going to limit our awareness and embodiment of our own truth, the truth of our union. So what is it that we've been holding that perpetuates this schism? What is it that you are holding? It's the same thing on every level of scale. You know, we can look out at society and notice the problems in society. We can notice the problems in our neighbor, but it's the same thing as what we've got right here. What am I holding? What am I holding that maybe during this next month I could find a way to become willing to release in order to step forward, to step a little bit closer? Step forward in a way that isn't contingent on like, well, I would if they would, but they're not, so I can't. Because that's giving away your power into the idea that our separateness is stronger than our togetherness, and that's just not true. That's just not the truth. The power is ours. Now, in the societies that we've created, we have witnessed perfectly reasonable justifications for animosity between these polarities. There is perfectly valid evidence, history, and personal experience that justifies and warrants a reaction of fear, distaste at best, animosity and distrust. And particularly recently, our eyes are being opened to the distortions in the relationship between masculine and feminine energies that the patriarchy has propagated. And this distortion and its outcomes and the grief and the rage and the resentment are valid and warranted from the perspective of history and experience. When we look through the eyes of history and experience, we can find justification indeed. So what I am calling for is a release of our relationship to that way of seeing. We don't necessarily even have to change the patriarchy if we can change our relationship to preferentially choosing to see things through the lens of experience and history. I'm wondering if we can loosen our need to prove to ourselves and prove to others how warranted our grief and rage is by truly letting it be and letting it be valid. Let it be valid from the perspective of history and experience. Honor it. It has a right to be. It has a right to be heard. It has a right to be angry. It has a right to be powerfully full of grief. That can be. It is honored. And could we also allow for another way of seeing? Could we allow for the singular focus of the inevitable truth of the power of our collaborative union, and choose to focus into that truth, and choose to focus into our power to choose that truth, to see that truth, and to allow that truth to take the lead to carry us into the unknown. We're in this new moon energy. We don't know where we're going. We don't know where we're going. So what are we going to put in the driver's seat? We've got our animosity and our rage and our distrust, and it's valid. But we can also have clear sight of the truth of the power of our union and choose that empowerment and put our power and the truth of our union into the driver's seat and let that carry us into the unknown. What I'm calling now for this revolutionary time of awakening that we are in witness of, and that we are participatory in, is a return to the very first commandment, to love God with all your heart, all your mind, and all your soul, and to forsake any other false idols. Anything, no matter how warranted it is, that steps in the way of that clear-sighted focus of the power that we have when we're together, the power that we really have when we really choose to lean into what's possible in that collaborative, explosive, creative energy that is possible, that happens between masculine and feminine energy. If we choose to focus there, from this unified I, focus on that one truth, and to forsake the idols, not to invalidate their existence, because they do have the right to be, but to release the idea that our resentments and the legacy of hurt are more powerful than that unlimited creative potential of our togetherness. Who and what might we be if each one of us chooses to hold that sight first, to hold that vision above all others? If each one of us finds the courage to step forward in that light. Thank you.